What's good, everybody? It's Big Game James here. You know what I mean. I'm doing the good, the bad, and the ugly this morning for our Dallas Mavericks. They lost last night against the New Orleans Pelicans, 113 to 111. Tough game. Little frustrated because I got to see the game, and that was a game that you would have wanted to get that game and get that victory. Only lost by two. The two losses are combined, 4 points, I believe. Had a 22-point lead. You lost against the Phoenix Suns, and then you came against the New Orleans Pelicans. And the good thing about about these two matchups that you did lose, these were two of the better teams in the Western Conference, and you played them well. Bad thing about it is Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram did not play in that game, although Tim Hardaway Jr. was out as well. But bad news was that you had Zion Williamson, you had Brandon Ingram out, and you wanted to capitalize and get that victory, and it didn't happen. But let's talk about some good, the bad, the ugly right quick. The good for me in this game was Luka Doncic. Luka, you know what he did. 37 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Also was good with Spencer Dinwiddie. He's continuing to play really good basketball right now. 24 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. Was hitting big shots, had shooting still good from the field. He came in shooting 50% from the field, and he's playing really well. You know, he's been a career 41% field goal percent shooter in his career, and he's playing really good. He's playing real good off-ball defense. He's going to the hole. He's not being ball dominant, just over dribbling. He's really settling into his role, and I like what he's doing, and he's really been playing well. So that's another good. Christian Wood, once again. I think this was his most minutes he played, 29 minutes, I believe. 23.6 boards, was effective once again. Gave him an inside-outside presence. He's continuing to do it. You love the acquisition that he's bringing to the table. I know a lot of people say, man, he needs to start, but you ain't got no firepower off the bench on the inside. Maxi Kleber had 7.5 boards, but he's not really giving you points, really an effective points off the bench. So he's got to continue to come off the bench, even though we probably want him to start. So that was definitely good. Also, Josh Green got some good minutes. Not really scoring a lot of points, but I think he can be a real defensive stalwart on the team. He's got good size, 6'5", about 200 pounds. Very active as far as on the defensive side of the ball. Just continue to get him minutes, and let's see if he can grow into a good defensive role. Another good for the Dallas Mavericks, in my opinion, was is it Frank Capazzo? No, it's not Frank, but Capazzo. I get that first name correct. I'm kind of going just off, I'm at work, so I'm kind of just going off the top of my head. But Capazzo's a guy that, forgive me if I didn't say the name right, I will get it right. But he came over, one of Luka's guys, and I've been clamoring to have that Dennis Smith Jr. Signing, and how you play smaller defensive guards where you had C.J. McCollum, you had Alvarado. Graham, those are smaller guards that will give, like Luka and the Dinwiddies and those guys, fits, because if they press you and really play tough on-ball defense, it's not that they can't handle it, it's just the fact that they're going to make you tired. And if those guys are making you run around and in your chest defensively, and Luka's got to play those minutes, it makes you hard to come back and score on the offensive end. So that's something that they're going to have to keep our eyes on going forward. Those smaller defensive guards, they may have a problem with those, but I like the way Capazzo played, man. He had 3 points, 2 assists, 2 steals. I thought he showed a lot of speed. I was a little suspect in him coming in, but he showed a lot of speed, man, up and down the court. He played really, I like the defense that he played, good on-ball defense. He's quick with he snaps his passes really well. He looks like he really can get the offense together with the way you really want to do. So I really like what he brought to the table in that aspect as far as that with Capazzo. So I like to see him continue to get more a role because you're going to need him, especially that speed off the bench, that defense. Those 2 steals were big. So that was the good, and I really liked he was productive off the bench for me. So I like that. The bad was this. The New Orleans Pelicans, without Zion Williamson, without Brandon Ingram, and you out-rebounded them 37 to 26. You had out-rebounded them. You had 11 offensive boards in this game, but they had 56 points in the paint. That's not good. and 8 of their 9 players were in double figures in this game. So Valanciunas really was working JaVale McGee. Trey Murphy was hitting big shots. Dyson Daniels, who had his first significant minutes, he was a high draft pick coming out, I believe, the G League, 19-year-old, nice player, 6'6". He was giving Dallas fits, man, and he came off with significant minutes, had like 22 minutes, 11 points, and he was just pretty much all around the ball. So that's a bad thing. 8 or 9 players in double figures, and their 2 top guys were out. They were effective. They were consistently getting points in the paint. They were consistently taking to the hole. They were hitting big shots on the outside. So that was a bad for me. And if we're going to get to a quick ugly, kind of before we get off of here, I would say the ugly to me is Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock combined for 3 of 13 from the field, 1 of 8 from three-point range. That's 2 of your starters right there who need to get points. I know they're not guys that are going to get 20, 25 points a game, but they got to be effective. I mean, it can't just be a defensive thing that they're going to bring to the table. They got to be able to score points, especially when Tim Hardaway Jr. was injured, didn't play. It was a big thing for them to really be able to really hit that and make those points. So 3 of 13, 1 of 8 from the three-point range. That's not good for Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock. They've got to be better. So that was a bad. And another, that was an ugly. And another ugly was JaVale McGee. In my opinion, he is a player that I guess they promised him a starting role when he came over to the Dallas Mavericks. And right now, he's got to be better. Valanciunas was consistently beating him on the inside with points, and JaVale McGee was never a guy anyway that you were ever really going to count on for any points, okay? So yes, he had 8 points, but he only had 2 rebounds, 1 block shot. You're a 7'1" guy. They're relying on you for athleticism, your height, your length, be able to be an inside presence, at least especially on the defensive side. That's one of the reasons why they brought you in here. But for them to promise him a starting position, and JaVale McGee has never really did anything in the NBA, is kind of crazy to me. He's got to do better, effectively, immediately. To me, if he's going to continue to play like that, then just bring him off the bench and start Dwight Powell, because Dwight Powell's not going to get you any points just like McGee, but I feel like Dwight Powell's going to give you a little bit more effort at times. I think he's just going to play a little bit harder, and I think that's one of the issues I always had kind of with JaVale McGee. He's kind of been like I'm not going to say goofy, but it's just like it's not consistent with his play, and he's got to continue to be better. So that's an ugly for me. He's got to step up and play that center position the right way, and if he's not, then he's got to go to the bench, in my opinion. You start Dwight Powell and then bring McGee off the bench, because we haven't seen the Christian Wood, JaVale McGee combination, and I need to see that on the inside, so that can be more of an inside presence. So I think Jason Kidd and them need to work that in my opinion. And that was an ugly. JaVale McGee was ugly play in that game. And I think if he would have played better, it would have helped the Mavericks possibly win that game. So we saw what it was, close loss to the New Orleans Pelicans. Make sure you check out my dog DDP. He's going to come behind me on, kind of bounce off me on his good, the bad, the ugly as well. And then we'll be talking tonight about the game in full and talk about future games, things of that nature. So make sure you check out the Positively Relentless tonight. Wednesday, it goes down. We'll be talking about Pelicans, Mavs, everything that's happened since the start of the season, and we'll get it in. But that's just my thoughts. The good, the bad, the ugly on the Mavericks' close loss to the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk to you tonight. Big Game James. I'm out. Peace.